The origins of soccer in Russia. Although relatively young, soccer is the most popular sport in Russia. Emerging only in the late 19th century, it was the closed and ancient Old Believer community that played an unexpected key role in bringing the sport to Russia. In ancient times, there was an ancient ball game in Russia, but it was very different from soccer. Using a ball made of soft cloth or leather, filled with feathers, two teams played this ball with their feet and tried to keep it as far away from the opposing side as possible. This game served as a ritual in wedding ceremonies and Easter celebrations. However, the game gradually disappeared by the end of the 19th century. Soccer arrived in Russia thanks to the British, but with the help of the Old Believers. Foreigners' hobbies. The first soccer game in Russia took place on September 24, 1893, in St. Petersburg. A local newspaper reported, "The playing field was completely muddy. The athletes in white uniforms ran around. When they stumbled, they turned as black as chimney sweeps." Meanwhile, the audience laughed heartily. This game served as a diversion from popular sports such as tug-of-war, athletics, racing, and others. The first regular soccer competition in Russia began in the village of Orekhovo-Zuyevo, Vladimirskaya Oblast, east of Moscow. In the mid-19th century, this region experienced a textile production boom, which led to population growth among workers in Orekhovo-Zuyevo and surrounding villages. The textile factory was controlled by wealthy business families. The most famous was the Morozov family. This family were followers of the Old Believers. To maintain the machines in the factory, they invited engineers and managers from Great Britain who brought soccer with them as a traditional form of entertainment. Initially, the British living in Orekhovo-Zuyevo only played with fellow British expatriates or against the British engineers team from the Hopper factory in Moscow. In 1896, the first regular soccer field appeared in Moscow's Sokolniki district, and in 1905, the first club was formed, with many Russians playing the new game. However, in Orekhovo-Zuyevo, the spread of soccer was held back due to religious issues. Since the 1880s, Harry Charnock, an Englishman and director of the Nikolskaya textile factory, located near Orekhovo-Zuyevo, tried to organize regular matches and attract Russian players because he considered sports to be a better alternative to drinking. Young and old Russian workers were immediately attracted to the game, and they played amateur football on modified fields and learned quickly. The Morozov family strongly opposed this new sport because, according to Old Believer beliefs, games were sinful. Moreover, English football was played with bare legs up to the hips, which was considered unacceptable. In addition, a major riot broke out at one of Morozov's factories in 1895, causing the government to view the idea of the game with concern, as it would attract large crowds. In 1895, Charnock decided to take action. He met with the governor of Vladimirskaya Oblast, Ivan Sazonov, and requested permission to establish a league. Charnock showed the governor a German conservative newspaper, Die Woche, which featured a German prince playing soccer in Berlin. German Emperor Wilhelm II was a cousin of Tsar Nikolai II, and this convinced the governor to approve the formation of the Orekhovo Sports Club in 1910. In 1912, the Orekhovo-Zuyevo League consisted of teams from local industrial villages. With more than 30 soccer fields and 29 teams, it was the largest league in Russia. Subsequently, 12 new teams competed in the first Children's Soccer League. A compromise between religion and sport had to be forced. In his memoirs, Charnock recalled that everything was ordered from England except for the uniforms for the new team. The players had to make their own pants. As a result, almost all of the pants were ankle length. The vehement protests of the team captain, an Englishman, were ignored. Before the game began, he decided to take extreme measures. With the help of two committee members, equipped with scissors and a tape measure, He locked the players in the locker room and cut their long pants to a more appropriate length. Eventually, the Old Believers found a way to join Russia's first soccer players. In 1910, the Orekhovo-Zuivo club secured their first victory against an English team, and soccer grew increasingly popular across Russia. In Moscow, even high-ranking British officials took the time to play the game. One of them was R.H. Bruce Lockhart. He was assigned by the British Foreign Office in Moscow as a vice consul. The funny thing was that many people in Russia thought he was John Harold, his brother, who was famous for rugby, so he was invited by the Orekhovo team to play center field, even though his soccer skills were mediocre. I always considered playing football with the Russian proletariat to be the most valuable part of my life in Russia. The games were really exciting and were greeted with enthusiasm. In Orekhovo, we sometimes played in front of 10,000 to 15,000 spectators, Lockhart wrote one day. After that, Lockhart was denounced by the Soviets for conspiracy against the state, and he had to leave Russia. However, the Englishman continued to play an important role in the development of soccer in Russia. Most British embassy officials and members of trade organizations played soccer near the Krimsky Bridge, as was indicated by Soviet intelligence reports. Meanwhile, soccer in Russia continued to develop. After the October Revolution and the Civil War, the Soviet national team was formed in 1923. But that is another story.